Hello everyone. Welcome back to this channel. This time, we will discuss some leaks that I have obtained, which look very interesting. Alright, let's not waste any time and get right into it. So in this video, we will discuss the review from Hershers of Sentience regarding the Dahlia's performance in Beta 3.8 v1. Hershers of Sentience is one of the veterans who often shares reviews about beta test characters on his YouTube channel. So, the information he provides is quite credible. And for simplicity, let's just call Hershers of Sentience HOS, and don't forget to subscribe to his channel too. Now, we get to the main discussion about the Dahlia v1's performance. So in his post, HOS wrote a comment that was quite sharp and interesting. This is very funny where they have to save the bricked archetype by completely erasing its identity and letting it deal damage freely, like regular crit DPS do. Clearly it's just crit damage without crit, so they have to lick even further by shooting other archetypes in the foot through many demerits in various modes, not allowing crit in certain situations, reducing crit DMG received, reducing damage when enemies are not broken. If looked at closely, what HOS said is indeed true. It seems Hoyo is trying to do anything to revive the Superbreak team. With the Dahlia's presence, the Superbreak team, which should only be able to produce Superbreak damage when enemies are weakness broken, can now produce Superbreak damage even without enemies being weakness broken. And true, this eliminates the identity of the Superbreak team itself that previously distinguished them from regular crit DPS. This mechanism makes the Superbreak team have a different playstyle from regular crit DPS, with a focus on destroying the enemy's toughness bar to trigger damage explosions. However, with the Dahlia's arrival, this system seems to change drastically. Well, for the issue about bosses in 3.8 that can make your characters unable to deal crit damage, I think it's still reasonable. Because Hoyoverse has to create scenarios to sell the Dahlia. This is no different from the existence of the Pollux boss, that greatly favored Castor Ice when she was just released. Interestingly, HOS not only highlighted the Superbreak archetype, but also touched on the impact of these changes on other archetypes, especially DOT. He mentioned, the only thought to be non-affected archetype, DOT, also got their main driver, Kafka, slightly bricked with new AA second demerit, which completely kills off Tribby plus Robin. Remembrance Gang is still too strong to care about such demerit though. In other words, even though the DOT archetype was initially thought to be unaffected, but they made the river of this DOT team unable to move, although this only happens in AA. This happens because the second demerit in AA will reduce all ally energy by 50% when entering combat, and decreases their energy regeneration rate by 50% outside of their turn for 2 turns. This will be very disadvantageous for Kafka, because this makes Kafka unable to use ultimate every turn, because the energy Kafka gets when doing follow-up attack will be reduced very drastically. This is also the same with Tribby. However, this doesn't affect the Remembrance team much, because they are still too strong in this patch 3. Regardless of all the complaints earlier, HOS actually thinks that the Dahlia's kit is very interesting, although DPS break with fire element gets the most benefit. And this of course points to one name, namely Firefly. In his review, HOS mentioned that the presence of a healer or shielder in the Dahlia's team seems quite important, because if not, that team can lose up to 100 break effect overall. That's a pretty big number and quite a pity if losing that. But I think, actually this isn't too much of a problem if you want to try playing without sustain. By replacing Lingsha or Gallagher with HMC should be able to cover this. Because she gives break effect to all team members while also giving super break damage buff from her ultimate. HOS also wrote that the Dahlia has many unique elements like follow-up attack, skill point regeneration, energy recovery, weakness implant, and various forms of debuffs against enemies. However, there's something that confuses HOS. Because he doesn't know if the Dahlia's follow-up attack is active once per her own turn, or once per her dance partner's turn. This would be very broken, especially at e6, if the second option applies. Besides discussing the Dahlia, HOS also speculated that the new boss mechanic and turbulence buff that appear in beta 3.8 could be early hints that Sparkle SP will be a non-crit DPS that relies on out-of-turn damage with high SP consumption. The way she deals damage might be similar to the Elation path in Simulated Universe. Now the question is, who is the biggest winner? Firefly or Lingsha DPS? Okay, that's the review from HOS. And if viewed overall, the Dahlia's presence seems to become very crucial for the Superbreak team. It can be seen that the Superbreak team's performance has increased significantly compared to before. However, this is still beta v1. There will still be many changes for the Dahlia until beta v5 or v6 later. But at least there's still hope for the Superbreak team to compete again with other teams. Okay, that's all for now, everyone. What are your thoughts on this leak? Write your opinions in the comments section. And don't forget to share this information with your friends who also play Honkai starrail. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on other important updates. See you in the next update.